Welcome to Control Your College Destiny, presented by the Learning Commons. My name is Joe, and I'm one of the tutors here at COD and in the Learning Commons. And before I get started, I want to talk about a few things on the agenda for this presentation. So I have some goals for you today, and there's 4 goals that I have. The first one is to learn some effective study skills that you can use in all of your classes. I also want to talk about how to self-advocate for yourself. In addition to that, I want you to stay positive and hopeful throughout the semester. And finally, I want you to use the Learning Commons and take advantage of all the free services it provides. Before I get started, I just wanted to talk a little bit about myself. Like I said earlier, I am a tutor at College of DuPage, and I primarily work with ESL students. And these students are from all different countries, and they have different backgrounds, and I help them with their English skills, especially conversation practice. So one of the things that I do here are these conversation circles. I was a former student at COD, and now I'm a tutor, so I'm looking forward to sharing some of my personal stories with you and give you some good tips to make you successful and control your college destiny. Alright, so before we get started, I wanted you to think of what are 3 things successful students do. So take a second to think about those, and I came up with 5 of them for you. Reading the syllabus, sleeping, just not in class, asking for help, participating in class, and forming study groups. There's really no wrong answers for this, but I just want you to get into that mode and thinking about things that you do that make a really strong, good student. I want to dive right into study skills, and this is going to be kind of like a study skills sampler. I'm going to give you a bunch of things and some personal tips for you related to study skills. So the first one I wanted to talk about is picking a good location. And as you can see in this picture, not a good space, very crowded, very busy, lots of distractions it looks like, super disorganized. I went around COD and just asked students, where do they like to study? And the 2 most popular answers I got were coffee shops and libraries. And I agree with those. Personally, I like places that have a little bit of noise. So I really like to study in coffee shops. I like the atmosphere, that background noise that kind of drowns everything out. But I know students like libraries as well. And just kind of picking a consistent place to go will really help you in getting into the groove and studying. In addition to location, I wanted to talk about organization as well. When I was a student at College of DuPage, I was not organized. I was very, very disorganized, and I would use my textbook as a folder. I would just jam all my papers in there. I had folders, but I would stick math and English and science all in the same thing. I started using folders and binders more effectively, limiting them to just 1 folder per subject. And I really like these. They're only like $5 or $6. They're plastic. They'll last forever. And they can actually hold a lot. It's kind of like a binder-folder hybrid. They're really, really cool, and they've really helped me remain organized throughout my terms and my school. Not only is organization important, but so is time management. And a lot of students, I ask them, how do you keep organized? And a lot of times they'll say, oh, I just keep everything in my head. Which I used to do that too, but at some point you're going to be so busy, you're going to have so many things on your schedule that you need to write it down. And I've been doing kind of a little bit of an electronic planner as well as a paper planner as well. It's kind of just picking your personal preference. What do you like the best? Some people may like the paper better, and some people may like the electronic planner better. Whatever fits you the best, but it's always good to just keep everything organized, write down important due dates, stick things that are in your syllabus, into your planner, so you always can stay ahead of the game. Next, we have just kind of a really short video about learning styles that I wanted to talk about, and how effective they are in the classroom and in your study sessions.
About above, across, after, against, among, along.
I'm trying to make a little replica and then going through the functions of them.
It helps me to remember things by just kind of drawing stuff out and labeling the parts that I don't remember off the top of my head.
I am tracing the picture of the brain. It's kind of like I'm making a test for myself.
Pinto beans?
Are lima beans and kidney beans similar?
Carrots, peas, kidney beans.
I feel like this is going very poorly.
A lot of times when I'm in a group, there'll be somebody who tries to spearhead the whole thing, and it just kind of makes everybody else feel left out.
Let's have everybody read a section.
I like to take over things.
This P could be probably.
I didn't do that one.
Impressionism.
Expressionism? I don't particularly like group study, but I'm glad we did for this one just because art is not my forte.
Flashcards are great. I use them most of the time.
I was able to draw pictures to kind of help me remember.
Right now I'm counting all the stars. I can remember how many points that I'm gonna have to connect.
Trying to draw some sort of visual cue around them.
I don't know which way it goes. I just know that it's like this, or like this.
Well, based on the test, I would say that the most successful was the flashcards.
I found out that flashcards, the way that I worked it, ended up being probably more beneficial than other things that I did.
I found that I was actually a lot better at flashcards than I thought I was, as far as using them to memorize stuff. If you're not doing so well in school, maybe you haven't found the exact way to educate yourself yet.
Know who you are and how you learn, and embrace it as something that's unique to you.
Do what you feel is comfortable. And if it takes you a little bit longer, that's okay.
So from watching the video, you'll notice that they talk about flashcards, different ways of studying, and one of the things that they kind of touch on a little bit is notes. And we really support at College of DuPage the Cornell method of taking notes. And there's different variations of this, but this is just kind of the basic format. So if you look at the left column, the Q column, you'll see that there are key words and key questions that you can write down there. And then on the right side, the note-taking column is where you can elaborate on those ideas and questions with things like key ideas, important dates, people, places, any types of pictures, formulas if you're taking a science or math class, and anything that your instructor repeats, especially if your teacher writes it on the board or it appears in a PowerPoint. That's just a good place to write it. And then at the bottom, you have a little summary section where you take everything from the first, take everything above and kind of put it into your own words so that you understand it, and it helps reinforce everything that you're learning in class. It's just a way to actively engage your teacher's lectures or the notes that you're taking from your textbook. We know that there's a lot of different ways to take notes, and there's not too many wrong ways to do it. but you just want to pick some type of organization. One of the apps that I started using in school, it's called Evernote, and it's really an interesting app. It has a lot of different functions to it. Scanning whiteboards and documents, recording audio it can do. I know some instructors allow students to record lectures, but you always want to get permission first. That might be something that may be helpful for you. It can set reminders, and you can take handwritten notes if you have a stylus, or you can take text notes. What's cool about this app is it also provides templates for taking notes. So the Cornell method will be loaded on there, and you can kind of use that as a template if you're more into electronic note-taking versus using a pen and pad or notebook. In addition to note-taking, you'll also want to effectively use your textbook. And the textbook has a lot of good things inside it to help you. One of those things is usually the chapter objectives or the chapter outline located at the beginning of the chapter that you have to read. So think of that as kind of like the roadmap for you, and it filters out what you need to know after you read that particular chapter. So it gives you structure, and it gives you an active purpose to read. And I know a lot of teachers in the classes that I've taken recently do not give out study guides. And that can be kind of shocking for students who are not used to that. And this is kind of like a way for you to create your own study guide using these chapter objectives. Because if you can answer all of those or understand what's going on in that outline or objectives, you'll have a solid grasp on that chapter. And it'll help you when you're taking exams or quizzes in the future. So again, look out for chapter checkpoints. Again, they'll help guide you, they'll reinforce your learning, make you actively engaged. And then as well, we wanted to talk about, the key vocabulary, obviously, that are either in bold or italics. And a lot of students too will make little notes on the margins, highlight, or create flashcards from those key terms. We really love highlighting in tutoring, but you want to be extra careful. So you want to avoid something like this. If you end up highlighting too much, you just lose focus on what's most important. And the things that you're probably going to notice are the things that you didn't highlight that aren't really important. So highlighting is something you just want to be really cautious and think less is more. A lot of students, when they highlight, they'll just focus on the key words, anything that's in italics or maybe like a formula or an equation. But when you're highlighting, always think less is more. You don't want to highlight pages and pages of text. And I mentioned earlier, and in the video, they talked about flashcards being really effective. I've had a lot of students say they don't like flashcards, they don't like to make them. So I realize they may not be for everybody, but they are a good way and a good study tool, to practice. You could take flashcards anywhere with you. If you're on the bus, walking between classes, or waiting for a class, you can always have them ready and flip through them. And even the act of creating flashcards is just a good way to help reinforce material. Whether it's, vocabulary, when you're learning another language, just flashcards can be really good. Alright, so next I wanted to talk about procrastination. And this is something I'm very guilty of. I'm a professional procrastinator. And you can see on the picture there, it says tomorrow as the definition. And I think it's such an easy habit to say, I'll do it tomorrow, with really anything, whether it's homework or exercising, starting a new diet. It's just very easy for some people to put off things. And that's the way it is for me sometimes too. But one of the things that I tend to do to overcome procrastination is I'll start really small. So I'll start a project, like for example, like a paper. And I'll write a few sentences, and I'll take a little break, and then I'll come back to it. And I notice that when I take small steps, I just have this urge, instead of just leaving it unfinished, I want to finish the project. So if you're having trouble starting something, or you're the person that says, I work best under pressure, try to begin a project, whether it's a paper, homework assignment, whatever. Do it in baby steps at first. And then what I noticed a lot of people, and myself included, once you get something started, you just have this high likelihood of just wanting to get it out of the way and finish it. I also have this game I play in my head, like a 3-second rule, where I think to myself, if I don't want to start something, I'll count to 3 in my head, and before I hit 3, I'll just start doing it. And you get in this kind of habit of just beginning things right away. And like I said earlier, when you start something, you just want to get it done. I just have that feeling like I don't want to do this anymore. I want to get it done, out of the way. And finally, with the study skills, obviously the syllabus is going to be super important in all of your classes to be successful. And I'm going to talk more about this in the next few slides coming up here in self-advocacy. But the syllabus, it's something that should always be in the front of your folder, where you can see the instructor's office hours, the course outline, important due dates. It's just kind of like the roadmap to your success. The syllabus is the key. It's a big part. Alright, so now that we're done with study skills, I want to jump right into self-advocacy. And this is kind of a hard question. What do you think self-advocacy is? And it's actually not too complicated when you think about it. It's broken down two words. Self is you, and then advocacy is just a fancy way to say support. So it's supporting yourself. And you can think of a lot of things that students do to self-advocate at College DuPage. There's a lot of things, but the main thing is speaking up for yourself and asking for help when you need it. College DuPage, and especially the Learning Commons, is a supportive environment for all students. And if you need help, it's definitely okay and encouraged to ask for help when you need it. Whether it's in the classroom or you're asking a tutor, or really any department at College DuPage, it can be a counselor. Just always ask for help. Don't be afraid or shy. It's better to ask for help. Earlier, when we were in the study skills part, I mentioned the syllabus, and I took this little screenshot from my accounting syllabus in a past semester, and it says here, accounting is very difficult. I am in my office Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 to 10:15 a.m. Please stop by. If a drop-in time is too difficult, we can set a better time. So when I was taking this course, I was in my instructor's office as much as I could go, and I would ask questions before class. I would ask questions after class, and it really helped me out a lot. And it also built this awesome relationship with my teacher. And I just felt so confident after asking for help and getting to know the material a lot better. And there's going to be some times when your instructor is going to be really busy before class, your instructor is going to be busy after class. You may feel shy about asking questions during class too. So another thing that you could do is email your instructor. And I'm going to go through some basic tips and some basic email etiquette. Number 1, choose an appropriate subject line and greeting. And we always encourage students to use your school email account, or you can always email through Blackboard as well. We always encourage students to be polite and specific in any requests that you have. Obviously, proofread it and make sure it looks good. And then it's also important, signing your full name, class, course number, and section number as well. So I'm going to show you an example, and my coworker and I kind of wrote this as a joke. And right away you can see, without even reading it, there's some obvious problems with this email. You can see the subject line, "Hey teacher," vague and rude. You can see that there's a lot of capital letters everywhere throughout the email. It's something you definitely want to avoid. And just the overall style, the grammar, everything about this is unprofessional. And I write a ton of emails every single day. And I'll proofread them, I'll make sure that they're perfect, and then I'll notice later that I made a mistake. And just think, it's okay to make a mistake, but you always want to put your best foot forward when writing an email, since it's a representation of you. Now, over here, this is something a little bit better. You can see we have a clear subject, a formal greeting, and then the request is brief, specific, and it's professional sounding too. And if you look at the content, I'm asking for an extension on a journal assignment. And I've asked for extensions in the past, and I've gotten them when writing emails. So it might be something if you have a time crunch, your instructor might be more lenient with you if you send a professional email. Also with self-advocacy, you don't want to ignore the people that you're taking the class with. Starting conversations with everybody around you, your peers and classmates, can be an awesome way to not only maybe get a new friend, but form a study group. They may be able to help you with, homework questions, due dates, and just talk about the class, overall. At the end of the day, you can get a study buddy out of this. So it's definitely worth it if you can try, and it could be something as simple as, asking the person next to you, how's the class going? Or, how do you like class so far? Or what's your favorite part about what we're talking about? Just something really simple can spark a giant conversation. But the biggest part of self-advocacy, again, is speaking up for yourself and, not being afraid to ask for help. So now that we're kind of towards the end of the presentation, I wanted to talk about mindset. And I know for myself, when I take like a math or science course, those were always my weakest subjects. I always kind of get nervous and I always think, I'm really bad at math. But when you think like that, sometimes the outcome will be negative too. So if you think negatively, you'll produce a poor result. But if you go into thinking something positive, like, I can do it, I can learn math, then you'll get a good result out of it. I've had a lot of scary subjects when I was at COD. Public speaking is a big fear of mine. Any type of science or math class or anything involving numbers. Those were things that were really, really scary for me. But I took the appropriate action. I was always talking with my instructors, building relationships with them, asking for help, taking advantage of tutoring services, all the free help that was provided to me. So even though something may seem scary, there's a lot of support and a lot of different services to help you through it. And basically the key idea here that you want to take away is, try your best, think positive, and hopefully that will produce a positive result. In this video, this is also kind of similar to the last video I showed you. It's a girl, but she's taking a test and she's kind of having like this panic attack. It's a funny video, it'll make you laugh, but when you're taking a test, like this, she's kind of thinking negatively, she's very, very panicked and all over the place. Just always be, calm, think positive, think I can get through this, I can do it.
This isn't the chapter I studied for. I'm gonna ruin my life. I'm gonna be a meth head on the street. You're tricking me to think that it's this, but really it's that. The last 10 I've done C, so there's no other answer but C. If I spell my name right, does that count? I heard that counts. Skip it, skip it, skip it, skip it, skip it, skip it. I'm gonna have the best time on New Year's Eve and kiss a boy! Plenty of rich people dropped out of college. I'm gonna be rich! Siri, what's the answer to question 42?
Okay, I found this on the web for what's the answer to question 42 feet.
No! E equals MC squared times the number of Meryl Streep Oscars to the power of X divided by the number of snubs she's gotten minus the hours of sleep that I personally have lost. That equals 93 billion light years, which is approximately the size of the observable universe. So, in comparison, why does any of this matter? Should I go back to that question I skipped? Forget it! We're all just stardust anyway.
All right, exam's over. Hand in your sheets.
Yeah, that went well.
I know some of these things with mindset are easier said than done, but it's important to think, I can do these things. I am amazing. There's good in every situation, and you can always look out for positive friends, coworkers, and teachers at school too. And failures can be, great learning experiences. I have been on academic probation a couple times, and sometimes I reflect back and I think about it, and I look back and I think, wow, that being on that and having to go through this process really made me appreciate everything around me, and it helped me be more diligent, more organized, so that didn't happen again. So even thinking back, that was a bad, rough patch. I overcame it by, talking with my teachers and counselors to help me get on a right path, so something like that wouldn't happen again. So kind of now I'm focusing more on what I'm doing now to keep ahead and do well in school. And lastly, I wanted to talk about the Learning Commons. And the Learning Commons is an academic support area that has three big parts. We have tutoring services, which offers small appointments, different types of drop-in for all types of subjects. We also have something called strategic success sessions, which is like a study skills session. So no matter what class you're taking, if you need help with time management, organization, planning out your semester with time, there's a ton of tutors waiting for you to get that extra help, whether it's with content or study skills or getting organized. There's just a ton of ways that you can get help at tutoring services. Also, there's the writing, reading, and speech assistance area, which if you're working on a paper or you need help with reading and navigating a textbook, or you're working on a presentation, this is an awesome place for you to go. I used to work here as a writing reading coach, and students come in with all types of papers at the beginning of the writing process, or they'll come in with a full paper and need help with grammar or citations. The Writing Center is an awesome place to come if you're looking to get help with a paper or reading or a presentation. They're amazing. And then lastly, we have math assistance as well. If you're taking a math course or even a physics course, anything involving math, they can help as well. And it's important to keep in mind that all these services are free for students to use. So they're here for you. There's tutors, coaches, and faculty just waiting to help you. So it's a great place to come if you're looking to get some extra help. And it's never too late to visit the Learning Commons and get a tutor or meet with somebody in order for you to be successful in your course. Thank you for listening to this presentation. I hope you found it enjoyable, and I hope to see you in the Learning Commons and take advantage of all the services it has. I hope you learned a lot as well, and thank you very much for your time.